My name is Tristan Love, and 10 years ago, I was going through the roughest times of my life. But through the work of caring adults, a supportive community, and the 40 developmental assets, I was able to finally turn my life around and do something a little bit more positive.
By his own account, just 3 years ago, Tristan Love was a teenage gang member on his way to a life of crime on the streets of Houston. Today, this former street kid is a sought-after speaker at education conferences, on his way to Morehouse College, and hoping for a career in law. The story of Tristan Love is the story of how caring adult mentors transformed the life of one deeply troubled teenager. It's the story of the remarkable relationship between the gang member formerly known as T. Love and a tireless middle-aged school volunteer named Pat Rosenberg, the woman he now calls Mama Pat.
This is our newest addition to the Rosenberg family. And this is Mr. Tristan Love. And he is a senior at Booker T. Washington High School.
Tristan lived with his mother as a child. She worked hard at 2 jobs, but the family was sometimes homeless. At 15, he ran away and lived in the streets for a time. He was kicked out of school after a gang fight and watched a close friend die in a shooting.
If you was going to jail, I was going to go to jail with you. Thank God that never happened. And if you was fit to fight, I was going to get in a fight with you. If you was fit to get shot, I was fit to get shot with you because you my brother. That's the only source of empowerment. That was my only source of family. That was my only source of a person who gave me a positive identity.
Tristan moved to Houston's Acres Home neighborhood to live with his father. He stopped short of dealing drugs, but hustled for money in the streets in other ways. Then, his father's house burned down, and with it, everything Tristan owned was destroyed.
I lost everything I worked so hard to get. I done moved from here, I done moved from here, from now to there, and from now to there, I'm here. I'm just tired. I really got to the point where I was ready to commit suicide.
Communities and schools, the nation's largest dropout prevention group, and school officials reached out to Tristan. And at a youth conference, a central idea took hold for him, that relationships with caring adults are key developmental assets that all kids need to thrive.
The relationships I started with different people, that's what changed my life around, the relationship.
Tristan raised his grades at school, formed a peer mentoring group, and began counseling younger kids at the YMCA.
Many people see me and they're like, wow, Tristan, you made a huge transformation. But what can you only imagine if these further development assets was implanted in every student in the school and every student started to make these changes? What kind of society there'll be?
Pat Rosenberg is a board member for Communities and Schools, and she began inviting Tristan to tell his story before audiences.
We all know how, with our own children, we have to find a spark of what they really love and can do. And Tristan has a spark of being able to speak from the heart. And so today, we wanted you to hear from somebody who was kind of not going in the right direction. And so through Communities and Schools and people at his school and other people nagging him, he's on a much brighter course. Having people in your life who care about you make all the difference in the world, and he is able as a young person to articulate that. And so it's been quite wonderful for my husband and I to help another kid go to college. And just like I nagged my young people to fill out their college applications, I also nagged Tristan.
This spring, Tristan won a merit scholarship and admission to Morehouse College.
And I ended up meeting Miss Pat. And wait, hold on. And you see, everybody who know Miss Pat started laughing. And I met Miss Pat, and Miss Pat was like, Tristan, I need you to speak here, and Tristan, I need you to speak that. But it was fun because I never just been somewhere and people like, wow, you did good. You know,
for Tristan's father, Billy Love, the volunteers have made all the difference.
They said it takes a village to raise a kid. Yeah, well, that's my village here.
At Booker T. Washington High School, Principal Mark Bedell says Tristan sets a powerful example.
So he's a resilient young man who I absolutely have beyond no doubt that he will go on to do huge things in our society and represent Booker T. Washington and his family well.
Principal Bedell has mounted Tristan's college acceptance letter and others like it on the wall for all to see.
What we have at this point is a wall where every student in the building can walk through, they can see where our students will be attending school in the future. It gives kids a sense of hope that they can accomplish these goals.
Pat Rosenberg seems certain to remain a big part of Tristan's life. Amid a nationwide shortage of adult volunteers, many other needy kids won't be so lucky. I'm Sue Schellenbarger with the Wall Street Journal.
Believe it or not, I never attended Morehouse College. I actually ended up attending Wiley College, home of the great debaters, with a full-ride scholarship from Denzel Washington. But at the same time, there was more in store in terms of the impact the 40 developmental assets had on my life.
And now he is an assistant principal here at Sam Houston.
10 years ago, I wouldn't even think I'd be alive right now.
At 12 years old, Tristan Love was the new kid on the block in the Allen Parkway Village apartments. He made the only choice he thought he had, to become a blood.
You join a gang so you can protect your family, you can protect what you have.
At the end of his freshman year at Lamar High, he got into a fight with a Crip.
I found out later on that summer I was not allowed to come back to Lamar.
Over the next year, 2 of his friends were killed. He moved to 5th Ward with his dad and started school at Booker T. Washington. Someone burned their house down. From that point, with a lot of help, he turned his life around.
So I can't say I was just out of the streets, but I can say I was in my 11th grade year, I was very serious about education.
A random encounter landed him on the debate team, and he was good. He earned a full ride to debate at Wiley College, home of the great debaters.
They called us the Great Debaters 2.0.
He came home to teach at Sam Houston High.
Pre-AP classes will be fine.
Now in his 4th year, today was his first day of school as an assistant principal. He's only 26. Mr. Love says he's been very open with his students about his past. He's been open with them about how he changed his life, and he believes that openness and just being real with them really helps him get through.
They can come to me, and they do come to me and ask me how I navigate that system. Like, yeah, I'm trying to stop hanging with this bad crowd. How do I get out of that? Yeah, I'm trying to stop being in the gang. How do I get out?
Like, I couldn't even walk to class without seeing him. Like, sometimes I used to dodge around these lockers or something to just avoid him. But he used to be like, you know, you gotta do something, but not going to college is not an option for you.
Carlton Pagine just graduated from Sam Houston.
Because I had an attitude problem. Like, I really couldn't have people talking to me. Do you know how to become like a student?
But Love broke through. Pagine is going into his freshman year at Love's alma mater. Today, Love understands that he lived through everything for this assignment.
Because he's not in A4E yet.
On the north side, Tracy Clemens, 13 Eyewitness News.
My story doesn't have to be unique. The only difference between myself and others is that I had a chance to take a minute and have a reflection, have a talk with myself, and to truly find out what do I need in order to be successful. Today, in this moment, you have an opportunity to find out what you truly need in order to be successful. You have the 40 developmental asset checklist. Before you take this checklist, take a second and reflect. Think about your world. Think about who's in your world. Think about the support you have. Think about the adults you have. Think about your life in general, and what would it take for you to become whatever you think success looks like for you. And when you get a chance, think about that and put it down on paper. Do not check a box if you do not genuinely feel like you are able to agree what's on that paper. If you do not get support from an adult, if you do not feel safe in your community, if you don't do several hours of homework a day, then don't check those boxes. Because at the end of the day, this 40 developmental assets was a way to systematically build an environment that I could be successful in. And if we're not truthful with ourselves, if we're not able to be 100, if we're not able to keep it real with ourselves and say, this is what I need to be successful, then how can we as a community? How can we as supporters, how can we as adults do what it takes to make sure you're the best you can be? In my story, I had Miss Pat, I had communities in schools, I had teachers at my campus that were able to build those assets systematically around things that I need. As an assistant principal, it's a daily charge for me to make sure kids, scholars, students, parents, and community members know that young people have a story. Young people need certain things in order to be successful. And we as adults, we as educators, we as community leaders can be able to provide those basic necessities, those basic environmental pressures that can make sure scholars are doing what they have to do in order to be successful. Take a moment, fill out your asset checklist, and I am Tristan Love, the assistant principal now in my second year at the Secondary Disciplinary Alternative Education Program, and I'm signing out. Peace. from gang member to college to teacher to one of the youngest assistant principals